What is up, hotties? Welcome back to another episode of Stay Hot. I'm Blaiden Kirk, joined as always by my two favorite co-hosts of all time, Matthew Spawnhour and Theo Ash, here to give you kind of a way too early ranking of some of the top quarterback prospects in the 2027 NFL draft class. And if you want to check out, Theo and I already did our top 5 prospects overall in this class over on the Stay Hot Patreon. So this is kind of a sequel to that episode, if you will. But before we get into it, Matt, Theo, it is a beautiful Sunday night. How are you guys doing?
I'm doing well. Finally moved into the new place in the new neighborhood. Still recording here at the old one for now because Cammy wants to do some music stuff. So I decided, well, we still have this lease for another week or so might as well record it over here. But yeah, in the new neighborhood, there's this house that is selling eggs for $6, like a carton of eggs. And I saw it when I parked. And this morning, we didn't have any food in the refrigerator. So I walked over and I rang the doorbell. And this old lady came to the door and sold me some eggs from her chickens in the backyard. I was like, wow, what a traditional way to participate in society, like knocking
right. That is pretty classic. Hungry, go get the eggs. Absolutely. That's like the classic one too. But there is something about that, about doing something, just being able to walk and go do anything. It really is better. That's a very popular take online for a good reason, in my opinion.
I walked and got eggs from this lady. I walked and I can walk to a bakery now. So I got bread. And then I walked back. I was like, wow, what a successful haul. And now I'm farther away from every grocery store than I am now. So this charade can't last forever. My walkability has actually gone down when it comes to some of these crucial storefronts. But
I think grocery stores are kind of a different animal where even if they are within walking distance, you're almost never making a trip to the grocery store where walking is the better option because of how much stuff you probably have to get.
Well, that depends, because if you can just walk to the grocery store, you don't have to get that much stuff because you can just walk there.
I've seen this take before. I completely disagree.
It's not a take. It's how I live my life. I don't.
You don't keep food in the house?
I do, but I don't have to go get it all in one big haul because I'm 5 minutes walking from a Trader Joe's.
I live 5 minutes from a Kroger, but I'm not walking to Kroger and being like, "Oh,
you get a little cart.
Let me go get
those little cart things.
Get meat for the day." Like, no, we buy more food in bulk because it's cheaper that way.
This is why you've never seen a bird in your life, bro. This is why you've never seen a bird, and this is why you don't own a raincoat, and this is why you don't wear sunscreen, because you're driving 5 minutes to the grocery store.
I'm financially responsible, man. That's all it is.
You're buying the same stuff at the same amount, just more spread out. The more
that you buy, the cheaper it is.
That's not true.
Sometimes on some things.
Like if I went to Sam's Club and bought it all, but if you're going to the same store, it's the same price.
If I go to Kroger and I buy a 2-pack of chicken breasts, that is more per pound than if I buy an 8-pack or a 6-pack of chicken breasts.
Sure.
But if you buy 2 packs of chicken 2 days apart versus on the same day, it's the same price.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
If I buy 3 2-packs of chicken that are more expensive per pound than the 6-pack of chicken, I spent more money, and I had to go to the store multiple times. And you're spending the same amount of time on that trip anyway. Like, I'm
just get a little cart thing. People solve for this issue. It's true, you can't carry as much as your trunk can, but you get one of those little, not like a shopping cart, but it's kind of like a shopping cart.
Or like a wagon.
And then you can get your 6-pack of chicken, you can save the money, and you can walk, and everyone's psyched.
Yeah, and what if I want to walk? Well, you're not factoring this into your economic equation, Mr. I have a degree from a university. Like, everything's got to be a formula. Look at me. I don't
care which pack.
I enjoy walking, and
I enjoy
You have no
walking
answer for this.
sometimes too. But you know what? You know what your walking doesn't account for?
What
Tearing my
account?
ACL.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh. Got him.
Isn't that
you're
healed
lucky
by
you're
now?
lucky
Like,
your
is that even still?
No, I
That
can
happened
walk
so
just
long
fine.
ago.
You're not walking anywhere. You're not strengthening it, man.
I can walk just fine.
You said you had a crazy story.
I do have a crazy story. So I'll start by saying it's been a cool weekend. You know, I saw Muse and Block Party on Saturday night in Cincinnati. Sorry, we didn't come say hi, Matt. We were already running a little late, but it was a great show. I'm gonna definitely steal a couple of riffs because there's some kick-ass Block Party riffs that I wanna use. First time ever seeing Muse, so I was really excited for that, and I was really glad the rain held off. Then today I had a show, and show's going pretty well. It's hot, and I have no problem with that. It's outside. We're playing There She Goes by The Laws, and I feel something like on my lips mid singing. And so I like blow it away. And then after we finish the song, I hear my bass player come up behind me. He's like, Blaiden, there's a spider on you. And I'm like flipping out. But apparently I kept my cool. Everyone was like, you were very professional about that. I was like, I didn't feel very professional. I felt terrified. But I threw off the spider on my back, and my bass player smashed it, and all was well. But it was like somehow I like survived that altercation. It for those who don't know, I am horrified of spiders. So it was like I'm still like, if you see me like scratching myself mid episode, that's why.
That's crazy. Does it rise to the level, do you think, of like a full blown arachnophobia? Like, is it that
I mean,
bad?
I can see it in like movies in like video games. Like I can play Grounded without having to turn on arachnophobia mode. But like I cannot like if a spider were coming to like come down my wall right now, you would see me like just like looking at it. Like I would not be focused on the episode
Sure.
the rest of the time.
What do you think it is about them?
I don't know. I really don't. They have a lot of legs. And like centipedes are kind of the same way, you know, where I feel like once you get past,
they're worse.
they've got a fuck ton of legs, dude. I feel like once you get past 6 legs, or because I'm also afraid of like wasps and bees, and so it's just like anything that has the capacity.
6 is in line for sure.
So like if you got more than 6 legs, or you have the capacity to like sting me, I'm off.
The stinging, the biting, I get all that. 6 legs definitely leaving room for ants there, because ants really are not creepy. They're not good, but they're not creepy like that.
Ants aren't creepy. It's just every once in a while you've got a billion ants in your kitchen, and that's not fun.
But there's no hard line. I mean, like a roly-poly probably has more than 6 legs, but I wouldn't say a roly-poly is
6.
creepy.
I think it has.
It has 6?
There's no
It's an
way.
insect.
What?
Every insect has 6 legs. Did you know this?
Really?
Yes.
No.
What are centipedes?
That's a good question. I can't tell you off the top of my head what they are, but they're not insects that don't got 6 legs.
Oh, I didn't know that. I was tapped out in 4th grade.
Roly-polies have 14 legs.
Ah, okay.
Dickhead.
I did
It's not an insect. Something else.
Not an insect. I know it's not an insect. It's whatever a centipede is, I bet. But I don't know.
Roly-polies insects. I can't wait for Copilot AI to tell me.
It should know this.
something
It should
wrong.
know this.
Oh my God, Wikipedia is like armadillo.
Not insect.
Yeah, not insect. But I would say it's like definitely not an insect. But
Spiders aren't insects; they're arachnids.
Spiders are arachnids. I know that.
That's why it's arachnophobia.
But I don't know what centipedes are. I'm looking that up.
Yeah, I can't think of it either. But
Centipedes
perhaps we should get into the quarterback.
No. Nope.
Centipedes.
What is Arch Manning?
What is Arch
He's a
Manning?
guy. He's got 2 legs.
He's a human being.
Oh.
Cool.
You know, we can talk about the quarterbacks here, I guess. I do have something fun planned at the end of this episode too. So make sure if you don't want to hear football talk and you want to hear more nonsense, stick around to the end. Arch Manning will definitely start here at the top with, I mean, he is the far consensus first overall pick, tank for Arch Manning right now, right? And in the top prospects video that Matt, we also did a top 10 prospects like last year for this class, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think you had Arch Manning number 1 then, and Theo and I had Arch Manning both in our top 5s. So it feels like it is consensus among this group, at least, that he is the best quarterback in this class by a pretty substantial margin, at least. Is that fair to say?
I would say he's quarterback 1 pretty heavily. There's a couple of questions I have about him, and there's some other guys that I think have some serious potential, but I think he's far and away the best quarterback in this class as we sit here before the 26th season.
I am with Matt. QB1 pretty easily for me.
Yeah.
He's not flawless at all. He's not bust proof. I don't think that he's risen to the level of like generational prospect or whatever label you want to give him, but he's QB1 pretty easily in this class.
I think I'll put it like this. I think I could easily see him being the level of prospect that gets picked above even like elite talents at edge or receiver because he's a quarterback, and me being like, yeah, that's pretty reasonable. I think that's the level to which Arch is versus maybe some other years where quarterback feels like they have to go number 1, but it's largely like if there was an edge that was really like that, maybe they could beat him out. Arch, I think, has the possibility of getting into that, like, sorry, quarterback's a quarterback tier. The thing with him is that he's got a weird reputation that I feel like you have to talk about first. I mean, you've obviously got the issue, not the issue, but just like his last name is Manning. And a lot of the conversation around Arch sort of starts and ends with his last name being Manning. And there's a lot of accusations that he's only hyped up or that he was only a 5-star because of his last name, or that that's boosted him a ton, or that there's like, you know, Nepo baby type shit going on with him. And then on top of that, like I watched him in the limited games he played in 24, and I was like, yeah, this is pretty impressive. Like I definitely see it, even though it's early and against bad teams. It's like, okay, I'm down. And then he comes out in the first game after having all this hype against Ohio State and is really bad. And for the first few games, he is really, really bad, specifically with his accuracy is just like a disaster. I mean, it's unworkably bad, right? And you're thinking like, man, what is going on? His throwing motion looks different, and maybe it doesn't feel like he can really like get everything engaged. Like, does he have a core issue? Is it a foot thing? Like, what is going on with him? But he definitely doesn't seem like, you know, any sort of spectacular talent. He's having trouble just completing simple stuff. I think as the year goes on, like he gets significantly better with that for whatever it was injury wise. And by the end of the year, I see somebody who not only doesn't have an accuracy issue, but I would say that accuracy and placement more often seems like a positive to me rather than a negative. I mean, when I think about his elite traits, he's got good build. I think he's very mobile, maybe not like truly alien, but like really mobile, ran for 500 yards last year, not counting sacks. I'm going to go over a lot of rushing stats today. All of it is like PFF, not counting sack numbers, not college football reference, counting the sack number stuff. His pocket movement, I would also say, is one of his like absolutely top tier traits. And that's a big one to me. I think that a lot of quarterbacks are made or missed because they cannot manage the pocket and they cannot deal with pressure. With Arch, it's not only that he's got like a low pressure to sack rate or something like that. The tape of it looks so good. It looks so pro level when it comes to his ability to step up and make a play. But also he's very willing to like take contact and still get a throw off. And it doesn't feel like it's speeding him up or forcing him to make bad throws, but he does oftentimes like still get the ball out quick just with like the right pacing. And I'm really impressed by his ability to not only throw through contact, but throw through contact with touch. even if it's just out on like a check down, you're like, man, that was really well placed and gave you an opportunity to get more than maybe you would have otherwise. I think the touch shows up all around his game, like through all the throws, not just on, situations where he's trying to get something underneath. He's probably maybe a better. Saying someone's a touch thrower is kind of saying they have a weak arm. I don't think Arch has like a huge monster arm, but I do think it's pretty good. And then I think the touch really takes it to the next level. He's very aggressive. He's willing to make all sorts of difficult throws. I think he pretty clearly gets through like full field reads and is not like super babied all the time. So I see somebody who I think there are reasonable questions about him. And I think his last name being Manning and questioning whether or not he's maybe a little overrated because of that, I don't think that's totally unreasonable either. But I think when we look at the pocket presence and the movement, which is one of the biggest traits and one of the hardest to have and one of the hardest to change, his overall athleticism, his build, and his arm talent, already like really far forward in terms of his ability to like read the field, and the accuracy really returning to what we hoped it was going to be over the course of the year. I see a lot of positives for Arch, and that's even with another year of college ball left to play. I think it's a good thing he didn't come out. I'm not going to be mad at that for sure. And there's a couple of guys where I'm like, well, if you were really that good, would you have come out? Maybe, but I understand guys now, especially with them getting paid, say like, give me the reps. I mean, I'm all the time I'm saying like, if you're a little raw, like take the reps and you can still get paid well, because there's no guarantee you're playing once you get to the NFL unless you're a top pick. And even then, one injury and we don't got that much time, man.
Right.
You can get benched starting year 3, even as a top 5 pick. So I think I'm really high on Arch. If the accuracy dips down again, we'll have the conversation. But if it stays at what it was, like I was watching the Georgia game, if it stays what it was in that, I really think that we've got a first overall pick on our hands.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head, Matt. I mean, I'm also glad he didn't come out because now he can be a Cleveland Brown. And I hope he misses some passes so that other teams are lower on him, just in case we don't get the number 1 overall pick, of course. I'm with you that the accuracy is not that big of a deal. Like, obviously, accuracy is something that people really are high on because it's an important trait. It's why CJ Stroud got drafted highly. It was the main reason people loved Mendoza this year, right? Was his accuracy and his precision throwing, which is very important. But when you look at most quarterbacks, so many of them struggle under pressure. So many of them are like absolutely awful managing pockets. And a lot of it comes from they play in such simple RPO based offenses. They don't get these reps running these pro style offenses or even going through full field reads. A lot of these guys, it's one read and they're off running, right? Or it's two or it's like a single side of the field read and they're off running, or it's an RPO. Like, there just isn't a lot of pro style guys in college, sort of by design. Right.
Or all 5 of your offensive linemen are better than all 5 of their defensive linemen.
And you're just sitting around in the pocket. Absolutely. Or you're not really playing with some big talent advantage, but you are decently talented and you're playing in group competition or something like that. Yeah. And it's just like the level of the room for error you have and what you're asked to do on a down to down basis, even if it is like a somewhat professional offense, is just not going to be anywhere close to what it is in the major conferences. I think definitely as you watch guys like some this year, you're like, okay, there's levels to this, even within the power conferences too. I think it's pretty significant, and it's something I'm trying to take more into account for sure.
Yeah, I mean, we'll talk about Sayin and Moore and Mestemaker and all those guys, but that's kind of where we're referring, is like Arch Manning has these like bad misses, yes, but I think it's fair to say that of all the guys that we're talking about here, he has by far the most on his plate, like easily.
Sure. I will say like the bad misses at the start of the year are really bad. I mean, it's not, my argument for him is not that like he's missing like that and it's okay. It's that he stopped missing like that and I think something was wrong with him. That's what I would say. Because if he comes out and like he can't even get the short game going, then we're talking about him like a total project. And
Sure.
that's not a first overall pick, certainly not in this class.
Yeah, I think I agree with everything you guys have said, especially about the build and the physicality and the aggression and the ability to play through contact. That's really special with him. He's a grown-ass man coming out of college with a grown-ass man build, grown-ass man legs. I think he's a pretty special runner, like powerful, elusive, burning speed.
Yes.
The arm is pretty good. I love the physical tools, and I don't think he might be the best quarterback that I've scouted when it comes to the high end, avoiding multiple points of pressure, like plays. Like they can be really
better than
special.
Trevor.
Yeah, I don't. Trevor was the first year. I guess maybe I've got some recency bias towards Arch.
He's really special one way or the other with it. It really is like his elite trait.
Slide up in the pocket and then find an escape lane, take off through it. Maybe there's a stunt where one guy pushed him off his stunt or one guy pushed him off his spot, and then the looper comes and chases him. His ability to kind of find the midpoint between those two guys and like jump pass is awesome. Like his feel for the pocket, his feel for multiple points of pressure is elite. Accuracy, like you guys have mentioned, is the big problem. Accuracy is tough for me with him though, because like you can look at his worst misses and say he really struggles with accuracy, but you got to credit him also for the great throws.
Exactly.
Like, even in the Ohio State game week 1, even in that game, he misses open drag routes running wide open in front of him. He like skips the ball like a stone off the grass to them. Like what was that? He also hits a cover 2 hole shot that might be the best throw anybody ever hit all year in that game. And hit like a big deep ball up the right sideline in that game. That was gorgeous. And those definitely became more frequent over the course of the year. The Georgia game that you mentioned, Matt, great throws all over the place. Didn't even end up with a great stat line because it dropped.
His receivers just completely let him down in that game.
They dropped the ball.
What the stats say.
Now he's got Cam Coleman, and that's why you come back, right? Like, let's eliminate these questions. Like, we just had a year that was rocky. It was up and down based on the expectation. By the end, I thought he was putting number 1 tape stuff out there. I thought if he did declare in this class, like, heck yeah, he could have been the number 2 overall pick at least. Guys have been picked for less than what he was putting on tape at the end. But like, why not be the number 1 overall pick? Why not have a chance to win a college national title? And why not maybe get that generational label if you can play with some better receivers, be more even in your play over the course of the season, and make millions and try to add a ring to your finger. Like it all sounds pretty good to me. So I'm excited for what he could be next season, because he was really strong at the end of last year. But even in the Texas A&M game, you still saw some weird misses. I thought like that was a good game from him overall, and I think they ended their A&M's undefeated season in that game. And he had plenty of big highlights, including a rushing highlight that you've just like got to go see. But especially on the move, especially kind of rolling to his right, I feel like over the course of the year, some bizarre misses on the move, like throwing and just guys wide open and like skipping off the grass again. Like that's just the weird part of it, is like not even close. Like me golf, if I ever tried to golf, I'm sure I'd hit it way off into the fairway and you'd be like, wow, that was really ugly.
No,
not even
Theo,
close. Like,
you would get a hole in one.
I don't think I would. I really don't. Arch has those moments where you're just like, oh, he mishit that. He just mishit that and it went flying the wrong way.
He does, and then he's got other moments where it's like, not only was that accurate, but it was a tough throw, and the placement was particularly good.
Yeah.
And I really think the balance of that did get better as the year went on. Anyway.
It did get better.
A lot
but there
better.
There were still the weird shaky misses and the mishits towards the end. And that's the only thing where I'm like, that's
what could derail him as much as anything. And I think it's to the point where it's like, I'm not too worried about it, because it's not like sometimes the throws are catchable and sometimes they're not. It's like sometimes the throws are excellent, decently frequently, enough so where I don't think he ranks towards like the bottom of all of these guys in terms of accuracy. And then sometimes he has strange misses, sure. So I guess I feel better about him for that. My negatives were I thought his deep ball accuracy overall was really not that great down the sideline. I don't know if he picked his spots the best or if the placement was awesome. Sometimes it's tough because if your guy gets pushed to the sideline, nothing is right, versus where like if your guy wins brutally, it feels like everything is right. And certainly when you watch those sideline shots, you know, you notice it, but I didn't think it was a strong suit. The last thing I'll say about him, just with all the Manning specific stuff, I feel like a lot of people who think that they're like looking above sort of his last name are really also having takes on him based off of his last name, just the other way around.
I actually am judging him because his last name is Manning, but it's good. He can't miss because he's a Manning. That's my official Theo Ash NFL take. That the Mannings are
if
pure gold.
That's what I'm like. If you could have your kid train with anyone in NFL history, you would probably pick like Peyton Manning, Tom Brady. Right?
It doesn't make you good, but it certainly isn't a bad thing to have, you know, Uncle Peyton Manning.
You know, Uncle Peyton Manning. You got Eli over there. Like there's definitely some good to having that blood relation, I think. Not necessarily that he is good because he is a Manning, but because he has access to the resources of the Mannings. But getting into our next quarterback here, number 2 on the consensus big board, and the number 3 overall prospect on the consensus big board is Dante Moore. I was honestly pretty shocked to see that he is this highly regarded, just because for people to love, to hate on Manning, like, I just don't feel like Dante Moore shows that much that would make you, like, he's a significantly worse athlete. He's got significantly worse measurables. Like, he looks tiny on the broadcast. Like, I have real concerns, especially because, like, I feel like a lot of the offense is very, like, RPO, quick pass centric. And I'm not the biggest Dante Moore fan, I'll just say.
I think it's
where do you guys have him ranked, if you don't mind me asking before we get into him?
I kind of have these guys tiered more than ranked. And
I'll give you a rank straight up right now with the understanding that we're watching.
How about a grade, like a round grade?
I'll take it.
I'd say like second round grade for me, or day 2.
Yeah,
I think that's fair right now.
Yes.
I think I'll say with all of these guys, they're not even out of college yet. There's a lot of room they can grow. I've become more open-minded to guys in the NFL getting better. So certainly I don't want to be like too final with anything, even the guys that I really like or really dislike, except for maybe a few things that I think are pretty hard to change, but we'll get into it. With Moore, he's still my quarterback too, as it stands right now. I understand the hype, but like I have pretty big questions that would make me say him being the 3rd overall player right now certainly is quarterback reverse tax, right?
Yes.
Because he's just not a better prospect than like a Dylan Stewart or Jeremiah Smith to me currently.
Not even close. So
yeah. He was not in our top 5, either of our top 5 prospects rankings when we did that.
I think that's fair, and it's a good class at the top, so it should be really competitive. I mean, with Moore, I think that his tools are pretty good. Like I think he's relatively mobile, even if he doesn't run that much. He's not like a huge. I don't think he topped 300 yards this last year rushing, which is like not a very high bar for college ball, to be completely honest with you. But I do think his mobility is actually a little bit better than what that number would just tell you. I think that his arm is pretty good, but not like elite by any means. I think the accuracy is pretty good though. And I think the combination of those two factors make me say like, he actually is a pretty decent talent throwing the ball. Like he's somebody who I think is totally fair to look at for that reason. The question with him to me, especially after the Indiana playoff game, was his ability to deal with pressure. He might be a good athlete and he might have like a pretty good tool skill set. But like I said, with the rushing where it's like maybe he could use it more. I just feel like he's not that dynamic. I thought versus Indiana, he looked really static versus pressure and kind of just let things become an issue.
Yep.
He certainly has the traits to be better than he is against that, but it's really tough to get better at those type of things. We've seen more guys recently, I think, who I would be like, I don't know if they can ever really get it done, start to make it work in the NFL, but it's one of like the big three things for me. It's, you know, your mobility, your arm talent, and your ability to deal with pressure. I think he's really, really missing something right now with his ability to deal with pressure, and I think it's probably too far away at the moment for me to say, like, I'm going to take him in the top 3. But he's got a whole nother year to work on it, even just in college. So I'm open-minded. And it wasn't, I don't think his pressure to sack was like, it was still 16.7. Of course, like, it's just one stat and it's just one season. That can be kind of noisy, but it's not like he's out here with a 25% where you're like, that's pretty rough. I mean, like, that's unworkable in the NFL level. And even that isn't like, you know, the end all be all. So I have more at 2 still because I think he's overall a very talented thrower of the ball. And I think the traits are pretty good, but he really is a project, at least in one category of his game, in my opinion.
Yeah, I do think a lot of the pocket presence kind of can get, or like how you deal with pressure. It can be mitigated by you can either mitigate pressure by either diagnosing defenses really well and seeing the field at a high level and getting the ball out quickly, having the like really quick, minute movements. Brady obviously was like the king of this kind of stuff. And then, or you can be like a freak athlete. And to me, Dante Moore is neither of those right now. And that's kind of the thing of like why he got so shut down against Indiana is because that's an NFL level defense, right? They have NFL style rotations and disguises. And you saw him go into that game and get exposed because he's not used to seeing that. And he had no idea.
He wasn't ready for him.
He wasn't
But
ready
could
for
get better at that. And I disagree with the idea that you need to be a freak athlete straight up. I think he's a good athlete and has the facilities to get better. Whereas with some of these guys, I'm like, look, you can always play with better timing. You can always be more ready to deal with what the defense is throwing at you, or be quicker to get to your options, or just have better sense for it. But it feels like that's tough to develop, and it just gives you less options to deal with issues. And that makes me nervous. Moore does not feel like he's tapped out in the sense of like using his athleticism to problem solve.
What I liked about him last year a lot was just how smooth he seemed to be and how kind of chill he seemed to be. And he just had oily eyes and kind of oily hips, I felt like, where he was just kind of reading the field quickly, like without a lot of hitching up or getting confused. And I thought his mechanics looked good and his head stayed like super still and his shoulder plane was like really straight and sound as he threw. Like, it just aesthetically moved me. It was just a comfortable, nice, calm looking style of play. And I really liked that about him. And I think it gives him a really high ceiling for his accuracy and probably for his pocket management as well. I think like you said, Matt, his pressure to sack is pretty low. Like, if you can kind of just keep your head on straight and not like completely panic, you're already halfway there to being elite, I feel like. So that's what I really liked about Dante Moore, is he just felt like a calming force. It felt like he had some plays where he got through reads as quick as anybody in this class. Like, he could just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I didn't think that he was dependent on RPOs. I thought there were a lot of quick throws and short throws, but I don't think that they always happened in the context of there's only one option out here on the board. I thought, there were reads to both sides and he just went underneath. Now, I did think that he went underneath an awful lot. And I thought his playmaking to be explosive, the more I watched, the more I didn't like it. And the more I thought, man, there's some, they say there's no defense for the perfect throw, right? So shouldn't everything kind of be available to you all the time? That always kind of plays in the back of my mind.
I agree with that. Like, I think about the first sack against Indiana because at first glance, it kind of looks like he had no options, right? I think it was a play action and he had like a hitch in front of him and then a crosser coming up behind, and everything was kind of locked down, right? And it was a good pressure call, and they were able to get to him there. But I'm like, if you look at the end zone angle, at the top of his drop, his hitch route is about to turn around. It's second down. The hitch route is about to turn, and the DB's back is to him. The ball should be out. Right? In my opinion, the ball should be out right then.
I don't think he pushes the ball downfield with a ton of urgency. Even in the first Indiana game, I assume you guys are talking about the second one where they lost and got kicked out of the playoffs, where he really got shut down. But they played Indiana before, and he had some plays where he scrambled out of the pocket, and I thought there was like a guy open over the top where that he could have thrown it to, and if he was really an elite playmaker, that throw would be there for him. There was one in the end zone where I thought there was like a post wheel where the running back was on a linebacker that he should have hit. And if not that post kind of goes over the top of the safeties eventually, and he scrambles out to the right. And could you throw that to the back of the end zone? Those are two examples that come to mind for me. But over the course of the entire season, there's meat on the bone downfield for him. And he can't dink and dunk his way into being a great NFL pro. You need to push the ball downfield with some urgency. You need to be able to generate explosive plays somehow, some way. And right now, Dante Moore is very, very, very unexplosive to me. He's got some big plays, but just he could have way more in this offense, I thought. And yeah, I thought it was a little bit too many missed opportunities downfield.
The sack that I'm talking about is in their first matchup.
Okay.
In like week 6 or something, or week 5. I don't remember exactly.
There's a lot of missed opportunities in that first matchup for sure.
Yeah.
So,
but the second game was really bad.
I'll just say, like, I feel like being a project in the sense of you need to be more aggressive, but you seem to have the attributes of like an NFL arm and accuracy, and you can get through your reads. That is a lot more workable, even if you were to go to the NFL level and still need to grow in that regard, than like maybe somebody who is so inaccurate that you can't trust them to complete any short game stuff, or is so scared of the pressure, like they're completely sped up all the time. That, I agree, it needs to be better. But the reason why I'm not too low on Moore, even though like I watched that Indiana game, I remember I probably said on here, I was like, dude, there's no way you can play like that. You can be that like still versus pressure, that, you know, out of answers and just go to the NFL and be like the second overall pick. I don't know. I think Moore is not in a terrible spot. He's got to do it, but he's not in a bad spot to get better in that regard and become more explosive player. He's just got to do it.
Yeah.
He does have to do it. He has to become, I think, more Stroud-esque, like coming out of college, because Stroud was, I think, hit a lot more big plays than Moore did.
Stroud had the same. I thought Stroud had the same issue from time to time, where it would be, you know, honestly, that's probably not the same. My real issue with Stroud for a lot of his time at Ohio State is just like his unwillingness to play make at times and to rush. And I think there's still like, I don't know, there's still some stuff about Stroud that I think is actually, but it sort of ended up being kind of true. But we saw during the Georgia game, of course, famously, like he was just balling and unleashed because they had nothing to lose and they weren't supposed to be there. And I think they stopped playing so scared, and they very possibly could have won that game if they'd been a little bit healthier at receiver. But even then, yeah, I do remember Stroud would go out there and throw into really tight windows and say, like, not only am I accurate, but watch me use that accuracy to hit really tough throws and really tight windows, or guys who only have half a step, and I'm willing to bet that my placement's good enough to make that work anyway. You don't necessarily see that with Moore to the same level.
Especially to the wide receivers. He's got some like benders versus Tampa. There's one to Kenyon Sadiq against some gold. Is it Washington? I think they had gold on them where like he saw the too high shell and he saw a bender. And that's a throw that he hit a couple of times over the course of the season to Kenyon Sadiq, where those vertical seams in between the safeties. So he had it there, but to the wide receivers always kind of on the sideline or some of these digs, like, yeah, I think it was a little timid and a little bit playing not to lose than maybe playing to win as a stylistic choice from him or the coaches. I guess I don't know. Maybe there's a level to unlock, but yeah, just nothing. I kind of am with you, Blaiden, when you said that he didn't show that much. Like, yeah, he showed some poise, I thought, and some accuracy, but I want something a little bit more spicy, and I want him to become a little bit more of a gamer.
If you're a top 5 prospect in this class, you better be setting the world on fire. Like that kind of.
You got to be solving problems, or you got to be really pushing the offense. You can't. I agree. Game manager is probably a little bit too low when we've got, again, this is projection, and when we never know how the year plays out. But like, I think the top prospects in this class are crazy.
We've got like a ridiculous edge prospect, one of the best corner prospects I've ever seen, and one of the best receiver prospects I've ever seen. Like
Stewart is nuts. Not to make this about him, but Stewart is, oh my God, crazy. And he was banged up at the end of last year, so I think he didn't even get the chance to show it. But like his best like first step getting downhill plays are just completely insane, like 101.
His in and out agility, oh my God, it's
crazy. He's crazy. Blaiden, who is quarterback 3 on consensus? I honestly cannot figure out who it's supposed to be.
It's so close. Like they're all like one after the other. And part of it is because it's preseason, right? This is going to change a lot as the season goes on.
It's all quarterback. I mean, it's not to be taken super seriously. It's just to give us an order.
There are, in the top 32, there's like 8 guys. It's ridiculous.
Probably not going to be an 8 quarterback class.
I would hope not.
No.
Drew Mestemaker is number 3 on the big board.
I don't know, man.
Yuck.
I'm not the hugest Mestemaker guy. I certainly don't think that he's a top 3 quarterback as it stands right now in this class.
11th I don't want to be too on the big board, by the way.
Okay. I don't want to be too negative because Mestemaker is young. He hasn't played very much. He has a very cool story. Not even starting in high school to going and balling out, even if it's group play, pretty sweet. That's awesome. And there are some things that he does that I can see and understand why he is maybe getting a little bit more hype than other group quarterbacks who are putting up big numbers. Like he's 6'4". I don't want to say he's got a good build, but he's got a frame that hopefully he can fill out because he's pretty thin as it stands right now. He's very aggressive. He really likes to push the ball down the field and test things. He is really good throwing on the run. He likes to get out of the pocket and try to hit something. I think his accuracy is pretty decent there, or at least his vision is. Sometimes it is just like going out on the run and then having the vision to see somebody kind of standing open across his body and making that throw. And they're, I guess, not super high level throws, but it is nice to see him sort of be able to play the game that way. And I thought there's enough quick decisions, even if it is like a lot of RPO stuff or a lot of simple read stuff at North Texas. I thought that was good. And there were some moments where I felt like he was stepping up in the pocket and keeping his eyes up and making a play. The pocket management is a little up and down overall, but for somebody, again, who didn't even play in high school, frankly, it being anything other than a disaster is good. But there's also plenty of times where he doesn't have to do a lot necessarily to manage the pocket, and it's not super crazy comp. The issue with Mestemaker for me, though, is that he's just, I don't think, very toolsy. When we compare him to like, NFL prospects, he's not like totally immobile, but he's not a plus runner, or he wasn't last year in any significant way. He can roll out of the pocket and he's got like, the some odd, maybe like 10-yard, 15-yard break or whatever. But ultimately, if I stacked him up against other NFL starters, I think he would fall below the 16 line, certainly. The build right now, I think, really is a major concern. He is way too thin, I would say, and I'd be worried that he'd get kind of clobbered and beat up. But that's very, very fixable. That's like probably putting on weight is like the number one. You honestly expect it.
So these guys at NBA Summer League
at Oklahoma State, you expect this to change.
Yeah, and then I think most concerningly, I don't think the arm is crazy live or anything. Honestly, I think it's a little bit below what I would be hoping for. And the question you have is, he can run around and do a lot of gamer stuff and be super aggressive at North Texas. And that is the type of stuff that I want to see. But does that translate up to higher levels of competition? That's the question I have for him, because it's just easy to make like high level throws against defenses that aren't that fast and windows that don't close that quickly. I think taking a step up to Oklahoma State, which is still not like, you know, the Big 12, I can tell you for a fact, at least if last year's Cincinnati Bearcats were rolling around in that conference, the secondaries are still not all that great. It's a good step up, but it's not, I think it's a significant like step below the SEC and the Big Ten. To me, what you want to see with Mestemaker is he's played so little and he has so much physically left like meat on the bone. Keep building, keep getting more reps. I like the stepping stone of then we go Big 12. And then maybe after that, we don't come out after this year. You go back, you go to Big 10, SEC, you get another year and you build from there, and you show like either maybe my arm can become a little bit more live, or like my touch really is good enough to make these tight window throws work. Overall, like, I guess I'm just worried about the traits, and the physical ones can be tough to change, and maybe I'm giving him too much grace in that sense, but I don't want to write anything in stone off of a freshman year at North Texas. So that's kind of my overview of him. Plus, he holds the ball really weird, and it looks weird all the time.
He holds the ball really weird. His footwork is really weird. Like, the first thing I saw is I'm watching he's like bouncing and his feet are flip-flopping which direction. I'm like, get this guy off my screen. Like, this is, I feel like I'm watching a high school quarterback, which, like, that makes sense, right, Matt? It makes sense that it feels like I'm watching a high school quarterback. But yeah, there's a lot that needs to change. And that's kind of my thing is, as of now, he would be a day 3 prospect for me. Just because there's, like, Matt, you've always said this in my life. The more times you have to say, like, if, that's the worse the outlook becomes. And we're like, well, he could be a good player if he puts on weight and if he can fix his footwork and if the arm can become more live. It's just, it's a lot that needs to go right.
I like the idea of looking at this sort of like, where would they be if they came out today in terms of a prospect, with the understanding that they can build from there. I totally agree. The more ifs you say about a player, like, yeah, then the worse the outlook is, or like, especially when we're talking about team reviews, that becomes if this guy and then you start to get like, if this 5th round pick can be a starter year 1 as a rookie, and it's like, all right, it's that the offensive line's going to be bad. The quarterback's going to get injured week 3. Cool.
Unless you're the Chargers, in which case you're a perennial playoff.
In which case, no.
A lot has been accomplished in LA already, and still so much left to go.
With Mestemaker, like, there are a lot of ifs, and I think it's fair to point out, like, odds are against anybody, and you've got a lot of building to do. But it's also with somebody who is particularly raw, and you expect growth in certain areas. And honestly, I don't watch his game and think like, this won't fly in the Big 12. If I'm being real with you, is that sure? I don't think he's going to go have like a disaster year for Oklahoma State. That's not what
JJ McCarthy won the national title. So,
right. Yeah, I mean, like, you know, so I just think like he could be leading a really high volume offense next year and all of that. I'm not like crazy low on him, but I think it's fair to say like he's very raw and the traits are not like superstar or anything. And they're below average for what you want for the NFL. And we'll see.
If he were to come out today, it would have to be day 3 flyer. And that's just not the expectation for him. That's not where consensus is on him. Clearly, according to this website, he could be a top 10 pick right now. That's what the expectation is. And the film just does not match the expectation. If that's what it is, maybe it's
I don't think that's really the feeling. I think it's probably a few mock drafts.
Yeah. And so he's at North Texas, right, which is in the small conference, and he really does light the world on fire. Like,
he does. I mean, he's balling. Let's he's a gamer and he's balling at North Texas. Let's not.
Like, what did the stats end up being?
Oh, he had like 4,500 passing yards or something. They were like running it up on like Eastern Michigan or whatever. It was.
I watched his game versus Charlotte. He had 600 yards versus Charlotte in the air.
Yes.
Damn.
But I watched that game and I don't think it's a very strong game from him. Like, I don't think that he looks like an NFL player in that game where he has 600 yards versus Charlotte. I really don't. He he throws a pick right to a dropping defensive end on a sim pressure. Like pressure comes from the other side. D end drops out. He tries to fit it into an out route on that side, and he just beams it right to the D end. There's a play where he tries to go create with his legs, and he gets downfield. The Charlotte player just rips it out of his arms, and it's a fumble. I don't think the touch looks good at all. I haven't seen a prospect since JJ McCarthy. JJ McCarthy also had this issue where everything's a laser beam. This guy, everything is an absolute laser beam. In the NFL,
put his shoulder into every single throw. Yes,
everything that he hits that's like pro level is like ride the mesh point, take it out, throw it, and split some defenders underneath and hit your guy in that kind of intermediate fundle, but between some guys. But if you've got to throw it over somebody and release it maybe a little bit early and feather it, it flies high. It always goes high. It goes over their head. It is just not the caliber of accuracy. It's not the caliber of, I think, arm, because a lot of times when he's got to adjust his arm slot or throw it over somebody, that ball will really start to wobble or die. And when he's stepping into these laser beams, it can really look nice, but I don't see in every situation, in every pocket, the ball looking that good. So yeah, I think there's arm strength questions. I think if you're playing at North Texas and you're playing this conference, like, you should look dominant running the ball. You should look dominant.
Yes.
You should be making defensive linemen look silly, like they can't tackle you. I think he's decently fast in a straight line with good release mechanics on the run, but he's not good bobbing and weaving in and out of pressure, like making you look stupid. In fact, he's the one who takes big hits. He's the one that gets the ball ripped away from him. I just wasn't a fan. I'm totally with you, Matt, that he needs to put way more weight on his frame. I think that is an absolute must. He's way too skinny, and you're hoping that more weight just makes the arm better. And once the arm gets better, the playmaking instincts will kind of follow. But I just don't. I didn't see necessarily a player that looked super elite to go bet on, or the playmaking instincts didn't look elite enough where even if he had a stronger arm, I'd be like, oh wow, this is now Aaron Rodgers that just came out of nowhere out of North Texas. Like, that's kind of what he's a dark horse to become, is like, look at this guy at North Texas, little dude, big arm, like making plays on the run. Like, is North Texas hiding this Heisman gem? I feel like there's this kind of unknown dark horse quantity about him, like where his high end plays are good enough down there where it's like, this is kind of my sleeper pick for whatever. But
if it's everyone's sleeper pick, it's no one's sleeper pick. Let me read you some YouTube comments from Drew Mestemaker, North Texas highlights from December 5th, 2025. Insane arm strength and decent release and enough speed to get away from pressure and run option plays. Impressive. I would recruit him and Young. That receiver's a winner. Drew is a superstar in the making, an all-world, all-purpose QB/athlete. Some pretty impressive throws on this tape. Wow, he has the Tom Brady it factor, but can run too. Like,
everybody's got comments like that pretty much in this class. I mean, Julian Sayin, Drew Brees, and except for probably Arch Manning, who has the exact opposite negative comments. Sure, but here's the thing though.
He reminds me of Aaron Rodgers. Yeah.
Rodgers is like the one where you really, and that's what I really wanted to like him, because I've seen some clips of him hitting outs on Twitter and things like that. Like, I just seen the highlights and the clips from Twitter going into the scouting reports. I was like, is he like this sneaky Aaron Rodgers type guy working his way up through the ranks? And I was like, no, he's more of a secret JJ McCarthy type guy working his way up through the ranks. But I'd be happy if he balls out and develops. But like, right. I think 3's rich for my blood. He was my least favorite guy of the ones that I watched.
Yep, I feel the same way. Before we get into our next sequence, summer is here, which means the fits actually matter. You're not hiding under hoodies anymore, so the little details stand out. That's why we've been rocking with GLD. I've been wearing my GLD chain for a while now, and it's become one of those things that I just throw on every day without even thinking about it. The quality is obvious. The second you pick it up, you can feel the weight. The craftsmanship is incredible, and it just finishes off whatever you're wearing. I was wearing it at my show today, and it just completes the fit. You got to have your GLD on, and they use real gold. Every stone is hand set. Everything is built to last. They've got chains, pendants, bracelets, watches, pretty much whatever your vibe, whatever your style is, they have it. And they have official NFL collabs. So if you want to rep your team, they've got you covered there as well. And it's not all just hype. They've got over 2 million customers, more than 50,000 5-star reviews, and every piece comes with a lifetime guarantee. And for a limited time, new customers can get 40% off using the code STAYHOT at GLD.com. Again, that's 40% off with the code STAYHOT at GLD.com. And after you purchase, they'll ask where you heard about them. Make sure to tell you that Stay Hot sent you. And speaking of investing in things you actually use every single day, doesn't just apply to things that you wear. It also applies to the tools that you use, especially if you're running a business. Support for today's show comes from our good friends over at Square, the business platform that helps sellers become neighborhood favorites. Whether you're running a coffee shop, a local store, or building your own business from the ground up, Square keeps everything in one place: payments, point of sale, online orders, inventory, staffing. It's all designed to work together so you can spend more time with your customers and less time worrying about your technology. I've noticed a lot of businesses in my good old town of Columbus using Square because it really does work. You walk in, tap your card, use Apple Pay, whatever you use. You get your receipt instantly, or if you don't want one, you don't have to even get a receipt, and everything just feels smooth. That's the kind of experience that keeps people coming back. That speed, that efficiency, and Square helps make that happen. Square helps you run your business more smoothly, bringing payment operations and insights together all in one place so you're ready for whatever's next. Right now, listeners can get up to $200 off Square hardware when you sign up at square.com/go/stayhot. That's SQUARE.com/go/stayhot. Get started with Square and build a setup that works the way you do. Now, I was really hoping that I could make a transition here that was like, oh, I said Sellers. What if we transitioned into Sellers? Sellers is number 43 on the consensus big board among overall prospects. He is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9th among quarterbacks.
That would be pretty low for me, if I'm being honest. If you want to talk about Sellers next, that's perfectly fine
I think
by me.
Yeah.
Superstar runner, superstar escape artist in terms of like his high-end plays are completely ridiculous. I mean, he's physical, he's fast, his get off is quick, he ducks under defenders. You really, really got to get your hands on him to bring him down. Can work in the designed run game. I think he got around 600 rushing yards last year, the most of any of these guys. Maybe I think Chambliss actually might have had him by a few because he played more games because he doesn't play for the Gamecocks. But Sellers, I think, is really like an S-tier prospect in terms of mobility and the high-end plays in that regard. I don't know if he's necessarily like Lamar level, so maybe put S however you want, but it's crazy. He's pretty far away, I feel like, as a thrower of the football. I will say, I think that South Carolina's offense is pretty bad. I think that there's a lot of plays where they're just not winning against man, and he doesn't have good options. So on a down-to-down basis, I think you can make a good argument that what he's asked to do is a lot harder than what a lot of these other guys are asked to do, or at least the situation. That combination is about as bad as anybody's in this class, I really do think. But is he somebody who you feel like throws with good timing or anticipation, or is like saying a step ahead of where he needs to be, or is particularly accurate? No, I don't think he's super strong in any of those categories, to be real with you. I think a lot of his throws, even when they're online, lack placement. I think a lot of the times he has to see it before he throws it. And even with the escapability stuff, while the high end is super big, and on some level, the offensive line is really bad. On another level, he can hold on to the ball longer than he really needs to. And he is not quick to make a decision or to get it out. And because of that, his pressure to sack percentage is still really bad. In fact, I think it's the worst of anybody here at 24%, which is getting into a pretty dangerous zone. So
it is.
I think with Sellers, I like the tools. I think his arm is not not what like his legs are, but is certainly like pro level. And again, like he's still got another year of college ball, and then he can be a project where drafting him high to seriously bet on the rushing upside is totally valid to me. Whereas a lot of these guys, like they have fine tools, but they really got to show me something. I can accept Sellers needing a little bit more refinement as he comes into the NFL, but I still think at the moment he's got some work to do, and I kind of wish he wasn't playing for the Gamecocks for his own good.
I think LaNorris Sellers is a very interesting runner because what are you pointing about? What do you find interesting about his running?
He's a little east-west. He's a little superstar-y in the sense that it's not always getting downhill and kind of like taking what is there. It's a lot of doubling back and that type of stuff. Even on designed runs, it's a lot of like, get me to the side. Like I'm going to try to beat this guy around the sideline when really it's not quite there. And it can be a little frustrating.
It can be out of control. It can be like, it could feel like you're about to tear your ACL, dude. That's how I feel about it. Like there's so much contact down around his legs, and he does the craziest stuff to break tackles.
Get the gate guys.
He does the craziest stuff to break tackles. Like his start, stop, double back. Like it's wild what he's capable of. I've seen him almost crawl on the ground. Like it might be the lowest runner I've ever seen.
He has a clip. He has literally a play against Kentucky last year where he was like crawling on the ground to get away from a sack.
Have you seen his touchdown against Clemson? Not last year, but the year before.
No,
go watch it. He's nuts, and his suddenness at that weight and his ability to get low at that weight. I agree because he really can Olay guys pretty bad.
What game was I watching? It was either I think it may have been the LSU game or the Oklahoma game where like. Someone comes, I think it must have been the LSU game because I think it was Weeks number 44, the linebacker who like blows up a lineman and then goes to make an arm tackle on Sellers. And keep in mind, like to blow up the lineman, he's already pretty low for this arm tackle up the A gap. And Sellers is literally ducked under this arm tackle. Like he doesn't even get his hand on Sellers because Sellers' entire body is moving with real speed under his arm with real speed. It's like, that's scary to think about. This 6'3", stocky, solid athlete running like Yoda between your legs or some shit, like full speed that low. It's wild, but it's also just like you're a quarterback, man. Like you had to just be maybe like make your cut and get out of bounds. Instead, it's like all this craziness, and I wish it was a little bit more streamlined at times. And maybe it's such a bad offensive environment at South Carolina where all this is completely necessary to advance the ball at all. But I was just like, I wish there was a little bit less. Noise can be good. Like if you're, Mahomes, the pump fake, you send someone flying and then you just continue on your merry way. But it's not expending that much energy. It feels like the great athletes can barely even look like they're trying until it's really time to turn it on. Sellers is like, when he runs, it's such all out effort at all times where I'm like, he's super talented, and his contact balance and his ability to kind of contract and expand his surface area is special. I wish he wasn't trying so hard. I wish he didn't make it look so crazy all the time, like the doubling back, one hand on the ground,
I'm watching
one hand waving the ball
against Clemson. I can't stop watching it.
It's crazy.
How did he score? He went parallel to the goal line.
I probably have seen this play, and I cannot recall it.
You definitely have seen it. It's crazy. I mean, it had to be one of the craziest plays of the year. It's like a I don't know. It's like a Lamar highlight or something, or even different. Sellers is really like kind of a unique runner within his own right that I don't know comps to anybody else in particular, to be real with you.
His acceleration.
At his weight.
It's ridiculous.
There's dudes who have been fat, like sudden like that, but they're never that heavy. It really is pretty special. But I agree, a lot of the times it does feel like once you're kind of doing that behind the line, that's what you're doing. You're not like going to make a play out of that throwing the ball very often. And I think in the designed run game, he can be not just getting downhill enough, you know?
Yeah.
So when you watch like a Cam Newton or something, you notice the suddenness and the strength, but like he really got downhill and cut up field with some urgency. And that's what made him such like a knifing, rushing threat. Sellers is a lot more like, I don't know. He's a lot
wild.
more east
I mean,
west.
he's wild.
Yeah.
He is wild, and you never know what he's gonna do. I feel like all the great rushers are just a little bit more smooth and confined to their cylinder than he is. Like Jaden Daniels and Lamar and even Arch, they're just a little bit more downhill. They're a little bit more subtle with their movements. Not that Sellers can't be somebody who rushes for 700, 800, 900 yards in the NFL. Like he can do it, but I think his style of play could be a bit reckless and a bit of an injury risk.
Sure.
So I worry about the tissue in his knees, man, the way he starts and stops and the way he goes down and back up. But I love it at the same time. At the same time, there are times where I like, this is absolutely what I want. Like pressure is coming in on him. He gets low, he snakes around it, then he pops back up and can throw it from any kind of angle. Like those are the types of plays that really get me excited. And especially watching him directly after Mestemaker, I'm like, this is real toolsiness. This is real, like, real slipperiness and slitheriness and elite problem solving. And there's a like a throw.
This is what
he has,
real slither looks like.
this is what real slither is like. There's a play he has early versus Mizzou where he does what I'm describing, where he like takes his shoulder away, steps up, fades away, throws downfield, puts a catchable ball, I think, on the sideline. Guy lands out of bounds, but I'm still like pretty good incomplete pass as far as I'm concerned. Later, there's a stunt where someone pushes him off his spot, and then he outruns the looper to his left as a righty throwing left against Mizzou, throws a beautiful ball right on the face mask on the sideline. I'm like, there's speed, there's real arm talent, there's real accuracy too, because he put it right on the guy's face mask. I love his release. It's so high and tight and fast. And I think his base can even be good too, especially in that Mizzou game when the offense is actually clicking for maybe the only time all year. I like his base, and I like the way that he's kind of staying strong in the pocket and scanning the field. Like I think that game is really great, but then you watch some of the other games and things kind of get off the rails early, and he also just is either a statue or he's running, and those nice little subtle fades away from pressure and feeling all the points of pressure, and those kind of start to go away, and it's like, why did you just stand on your spot and wait for the bull rush to come up? Like, why wasn't there a little bit of a move to buy yourself time? Because now you're throwing into a lineman, your accuracy is off. Like those subtleties seem to kind of elude him. And that is what makes me concerned that he's a little bit less than the sum of his parts. Is like, how can you get things done in a really tight space and in more of a, I don't know, refined way? But I like the tools a lot. I think he's more similar to Arch than maybe some would like to admit, but I think Arch is more polished for sure.
I think the pocket management and the pressure evasion is just in completely different categories in terms of what they do. Arch is a lot, can accomplish a lot by doing a lot less, you know, and keep his eyes up in a way that I don't think Sellers does. But Sellers, like high end, there shouldn't be any way out of this, and yet I'm Sellers' ability, like Arch obviously doesn't have. And you know, it's not this easy, and you shouldn't just be like, well, we can teach blank to do blank or whatever. Right. But like Sellers could become better and more refined in his pocket management. Arch, you're not ever going to be able to do what Sellers is doing out there and dipping like that. And it's just not available to everybody.
Very unique.
I would have Sellers as my quarterback 3 right now. Again, really early, but if I had to pick him, I would say, sure, give me Sellers.
I might even say he's my QB2 over Dante Moore, but
I don't think that's crazy.
They would both be day 2 though.
Yeah, we'll see if he's more Anthony Richardson or Josh Allen once he gets to the league. Like Richardson, I think, deals with some of the same issues where like the strain on himself is too much and the anticipation needs to be there, and some of these subtleties need to be there because he's like waiting for things to run wide open and holding the ball a little bit too long and knowing that he can kind of get it done on the back end with arm talent, but he's getting battered and bruised and can't even hold up. Like I'm worried about that outcome with Sellers 100%. But I also feel similarly with him as I do Anthony Richardson, where it's like, because he's so stout and such a great athlete, like his ability within an NFL pocket, his ability to look comfortable, his ability to look like the best player there can't be completely ignored. Like and South Carolina's pressure rate, like versus Oklahoma, for example, I don't know what it was, but Grayson Halton seemingly won instantly every single play up the middle.
And Sellers got a very high number. There's no stat for this. I know that his pressure dropback percentage was like 42, by far the highest. Oh. And I'm sure there was some, again, holding the ball that affected this. But the number of reps where Sellers is pressured like immediately up the middle, there's nothing you could do, is insane.
And the wide receivers are bad too on top of it all. Like there's one play against LSU where I think it's Harbor runs a bender, and Sellers does a nice job. He starts looking off to the left and then kind of knows he wants to go back to that bender. So he starts looking left and then kind of slowly brings his eyes over there as to not bring everybody to the party. And he's looking at it, and Harbor runs like 5 more steps before he really gets his eyes to make eyes at Sellers, being like, I'm ready for this ball. So Sellers has his eyes in the right spot for a big play, but he's just waiting there for like 5 more receiver steps. And then it's a bit herky-jerky at the top of the route where Harbor kind of looks like he's going to stop and then keeps going over the middle, and Sellers throws it behind him, and it's still even catchable, and Harbor drops it. And it looks like Sellers has no anticipation. It looks like Sellers like had somebody wide open and just missed him. But I think Sellers looks a lot smoother here, dropping back, moving his eyes to the backside, hitting the top of his drop as this should be kind of breaking, but then the timing with the receiver is off. And I'm not sure it's all on Sellers, because like a couple of plays later, he goes to throw a screen and everybody blocks on the screen. There's no receiver. And so like there are these issues, I feel like, pretty consistently with these South Carolina receivers, whether they get crowded to the sideline on goes, whether the timing is off on timing routes, whether there's a screen with nobody there, where it's like Sellers is kind of this wild card maybe in terms of what kind of field general he could actually be, because his army, if he's the field general, his army is the Z platoon. This is the Rhode Island battalion Rhode Island is catching a stray. I don't know, some goofy battalion.
Julian Sayin is after him, which I've seen Julian Sayin get some QB2. I've seen Julian Sayin get some QB1 talks. I don't really get the hype on Julian Sayin. Matt, I'm guessing you also don't get the hype on Julian Sayin. Am I right, or am I right?
I mean, I understand what people are like. I understand where the hype is coming from. I'm not like confused about it. He could have won Heisman had he had one more big game against Indiana, and he's very accurate in the short to intermediate, incredibly accurate, historically accurate by certain metrics, and I think it shows up on film. I think the physical tools are probably going to end up being disqualifying for him, is where I would land. I think he got a little better over the course of the year in terms of just like seeing the field and making some realer throws versus like where things were versus Texas, where he was freakishly like protected. And it's like his first game against, a big defense, kind of a tough situation to be in. But ultimately, like in terms of mobility, he is pretty rough. And I know a lot of people have the perspective that like, well, some guys, they just aren't mobile and that is what it is. And it's more of like a play style thing. It's a pretty big limitation is what it actually is. For the record, Sayin had 44 rushing yards last year. Again, that's not 44 rushing yards minus the sacks. That's 44 rushing yards straight up. That is like an unprecedented lack of rushing ability. I'm sure that part of it was, they just don't want him to run a ton. And I know Day told Stroud not to do that, and I had the same issue with him. But even Stroud had like 180 rushing yards when he was a starter. I actually was going and looking at this because I wanted to compare it to like NFL starters just in general. Of the 32 guys who are slated to start next year, 18 of them had their top college rushing season get over 500 yards. So not the majority, but more than not, guys are able to pull off pretty big rushing seasons. And there's only a handful of guys who didn't hit the 300-yard mark. Unfortunately, I don't have numbers for Geno, Rodgers, and Stafford in terms of like how much they were running in college without like the sacks taking away, because PFF's charting doesn't start till 2013. But it's really not that. It's more of an outlier to be someone who can't run than someone who can. There's as many guys in the NFL right now who like who are starting, who didn't run for 300 yards as there are like guys who ran for 1,000 in college. Like that's the balance. And when you get to these comps of like all these older players with these dudes who don't run at all in college, it's like you're comping them to someone older because it's just like, it's more and more of a limitation now than it ever has been. With Sayin, like, I just don't think like between him being not only like not that fast, but not that strong and not that quick, like he's just really limited in the way that he can problem solve or in the way that he can play make. And when you factor in what I think is even worse is the fact that his arm is really, really light, it's a lot of like painting around the middle versus real defenses. And while I thought that it got better and I thought that maybe he was doing at least a good enough job, like getting out of the pocket and throwing it away, or his big thing is like he can get out of the pocket and he can make throws on the sideline that are very accurate. And I'll give him that. Mm-hmm. But when it comes to like really testing good athletic defenses, when he played in the last couple of games, he was really bad again. And people have this idea like, oh, well, he's Drew Brees or something. Oh, well, he's this other guy who didn't move that much but was a superstar. I question whether or not Sayin's arm is to that level, and I don't know. I question if you can really translate what he's doing at OSU currently, and if he has like the vision that those guys had or the coolness under pressure that those guys had. There's more to being like this old pocket passer quarterback than just being accurate. And Sayin has not proven himself to be those things, even if he was third in Heisman voting. He's still behind Diego Pavia, right? So what does that really tell us? Because that's where a lot of the hype comes from. Yeah. So I don't know, maybe I'm going on like too much of a tangent here with the rushing yard stuff, but like really, I look at it like if you can't run, that's a negative. It's not a play style thing. It's a negative. Yeah, and if you're not a serious runner, it's a negative. I'm not saying even in terms of like, well, this guy's a statue and that's bad. I'm saying in terms of you don't bring rushing value as a quarterback, it's bad. You should be running for serious yards as a quarterback. I mean, just to put it as simply as possible.
Here's some rushing stats for you. It's from the Sports Reference College football page. 2025 Julian Sayin's rushing yards per attempt, which includes sack yardage, of course, is -1. Tom Brady's in 1999 was -0.9. So was better than Sayin's. And then Drew Brees in 2000 was 6.
Yeah, Drew Brees had like 500 rushing yards.
Drew Brees had 500 rushing yards with sacks included. Like, it really is. If we're comparing him to these like perennial pocket passers, he's behind both like the two of the biggest guys.
These are numbers with some variance, but like when you talk about just the lack of rushing threat, the only comp that's been picked in the first round since I can look at the numbers without sacks is Mac Jones. That's it. That's the only guy. He was running for like basically nothing every year. And this is like obviously an simplistic way of looking at it. And again, I do think his numbers could be like higher if Day probably was telling him like, don't ever run, even if it's super, super easy, because there's times where you're pulling your hair out that it's like, dude, just take what you've got right there. And I'm guessing that probably is Day's influence. I really, really think so. But his lack of mobility and his lack of arm power makes me feel like it's going to be really tough for him to hold up and translate in the NFL. I think the facilities you need to pull off what you need to do to run a real offense just are going to be tough for Sayin to match up with. And I guess your timing and your poise and everything can be like totally perfect. And if you're really accurate and really aggressive, okay. But I don't think that Sayin is really aggressive. I think his weakness is that he's not aggressive and that he's not like throwing into tight windows with perfect accuracy all the time. At least not against big comp.
Jordan Love, I mean, he had a season where he only had 63 rushing yards the entire. That's with sacks. That's not the PFF correct version.
266. He was 26th of all the starters.
Yeah, 266 is still a lot more, but he's also got the big arm and ways to be explosive without the rushing threat, right? So, yeah, I mean, if you're looking at who's going to get weeded out at the NFL level first, not that hard to look at the weakest, smallest guys first, and that's what Sayin is. And I am concerned about the rushing as much as you guys. I have a video on my old personal YouTube account that predates even Theo Ash NFL, I think, and predates Stay Hot when I think I was still living at home when I was making this, like with my parents. But there's a video called Jalen Hurts will be the best rookie quarterback. And this was in a class with Burrow and Herbert and Love and Tua. And obviously Herbert was the best rookie quarterback that year. He won Rookie of the Year. But I think in that video, I build this big argument and this big database of every quarterback draft pack I could go back and look at. And the biggest part of my formula that I used was rushing because it was so sticky. I was like, there is nobody who below this line who has hit since like Matt Ryan. There is nobody below this line who has hit since Matt Ryan. So why on earth would I not take that into account when guys like Lamar, when guys like Josh Allen, when guys like, whoever you want to name have hit, in large part thanks to the fact that they've been great rushers, especially early, and they got to figure out the league without maybe the IQ and the experience that the older guys have. Like, yeah, you better have some athleticism to set you apart when you're young. And if you don't have that, it's historically been a massive problem. And with Sayin, I see the same thing as you guys of like, he can only be stretched so thin and then things start to kind of fall apart, whether that be a deep shot. It helps him a whole heck of a lot to have the two greatest deep threats in all of college football.
It's ridiculous how much credit he gets for deep shots that I think are pretty consistently underthrown. I mean, really, really, really often. And it's like, the corners at this level, they're going to have a harder time turning their head. And these dudes are winning so badly that you can get away with it. But even a lot of like his highlight throws, I'm like, this wasn't like placed spectacularly well. I think his accuracy is still really good, but the arm power like fades really, really quickly. And I don't know. I just look at my top 20 quarterbacks in the NFL, and there's nobody who I think is as like limited as Sayin. And Sayin isn't even like a perfect technical operator.
No.
In other regards, where it's like, well, clearly he's sort of like, he's not. He isn't. Not at least yet. And even if he becomes one, which is a projection, I still question like how far you can really go. So I think he can have a better season than he had last year, but I just think it's going to be really tough with his tools.
I've seen other scouting reports where he's referred to as having like the best ball placement in this class by like a pretty wide margin. And his completion percentage was 76.8% last year, according to PFF. And I'm like, it's easy to do that when you're throwing to Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate all year.
He
like,
is really accurate in the short to intermediate.
He is accurate, but part of that I do think is like, how many receivers do you know that if you threw a deep out, a 10-yard out, are going to let the ball come to them out here? You throw that ball to Jeremiah Love, he's reaching through the defense to make that catch. Even if it is slightly behind, it doesn't look slightly behind because you're throwing to the best receiver in college football.
But you could say that for everybody's placement then. Sayin is especially accurate in the short to intermediate, and that is how, and he plays for Ohio State, and the combination of those two things have gotten us where we are currently. Because it's, the Heisman is such a limited award in terms of who it'll consider some years.
Yeah.
Obviously, we've seen it, but like, what I'm saying, where it's like Sayin is widely not viewed as the best player on his offense, but is somehow like a game away from winning Heisman. And you're like, okay, I guess that's how it works. Or like, the accuracy in the short to intermediate, like when he's not aggressive. I think about that Texas play where it's Claire on the sideline and it's incomplete, right? Because Claire screws up and it's a very accurate pass. And you're like, okay, that's pretty nice. But the reality is that he should have gotten that to Jeremiah Smith and he should have thrown it deep and he could have had a touchdown, but he wasn't willing to push the ball. Those are the things that worried me as much as anything, is him kind of like the accuracy is good, but I don't think he uses it to hit high level throws all the time. I think it's more like guys just running across. There's less like layering in a hole shot. And I thought I saw more of that as the year went on, or like he was just like being a little bit more aggressive, but then he just missed one too many like big throws against Indiana and Miami in terms of like, you got a guy under pressure, you're just not getting it out quick, or this is a deep ball that just is a little underthrown, and then Jeremiah Smith screws up the yak and they don't get a touchdown on that play. And it's like, it's tough when I just feel like so much of Sayin's appeal is supposed to be the accuracy, and it fades, and it's not necessarily like used in the way that I would want it to if he had a bigger arm that I feel like he could. But I won't deny that like the short and intermediate is crazy accurate.
Sure.
I just think that's like one part of the puzzle, and like there's just not enough else there for me.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And so that brings us to, well, there's Raiola, but CJ Carr is the next guy that we all watched that we wanted to talk about here. There's a lot of guys in this class that are like 6'3", and they're like flirting with 200 pounds. And Carr's kind of one of those. He's like 210 maybe. Another guy that's just like really looks frail to me, and I don't love his tools either. Like I don't think these are particularly special quarterback prospects as far as tools go, and when you don't have the size, I think it is going to make it hard to deal with some of these collapsing NFL pockets.
He's interesting. I think he throws a pretty good looking ball, I have to say.
I thought Dylan Gabriel threw a pretty good looking ball.
I don't think this isn't Dylan Gabriel at all. No, this isn't.
Dante Moore
Dylan Gabriel
reminds me more of Dylan Gabriel than...
I wasn't
Sure, but Dylan Gabriel's number one traits that people think about are the size and the lack of arm strength, right?
Yeah, Dylan Gabriel's like 5'8", and
yeah, I don't think Carr, even if you don't think his like pop is that crazy, certainly is nowhere near that tier. Carr is funny. He does throw a really good looking ball. He's funny because I agree the mobility is not great, but he does like to make those plays where he'll like double and then triple back on himself.
Did you see his pick versus USC?
I don't think that I did.
Oh God. It's so bad. And yes, it is a play where he rolls left, nothing is there. He rolls right. It seems like he tries to beat the defense back the other way to the pylon. Of course, it doesn't happen because he's not that fast. He backs up, goes back left, doubles back right, does end up escaping eventually. You're like, okay, what are you going to do? What have you got? And he throws the worst pick in triple coverage. I think trying to go to the back of the end zone. I think there's someone running, number 9 is running across the back of the end zone, and he throws it, and it gets picked way before the end zone even starts. It's so bad after him doubling and tripling back. I think maybe he could get the sneaky athleticism label with his feet, actually, because he is kind of this big, tall pocket passer guy. And I was like, this guy, is he a statue? Can he move at all? And then he takes off, and I'm like, yeah, I think he checks that box a little bit. But yeah, there's a little bit too much doubling back. There's levels to it. He also doubles back in USC and gets killed immediately by an edge bending the arc. And he had all the room in the world to step up and slide. Instead, he doubles back, and Looney Tunes style, when he turns around like he's off a boot, runs right into the guy. It's this huge collision. I'm like, bruh, what are we doing here? Because there's stuff that I really like about him, and I was vibing with the tape until I saw like some of these plays versus USC, where I was like, all right, dude, like,
he cannot ever do that at the NFL level. He does have to completely take that out of his game.
He got the Shador. He's got Shador allegation.
He's a mix of Shador and Dylan. No.
But I agree, Matt. I think I agree, Blaiden and Matt, because Blaiden, I agree that he doesn't have great tools. I think his spin rate going deep is like pretty low. I think his throws have a lot of arc on them. Like, they're just not these pretty looking, powerful laser beams when he throws, I don't think. But he's not afraid to throw it to the field, like deep outs to the field, like beating corners there, like they're placed so well at times that even though I think that this ball doesn't have the RPMs on it that I would ideally like to see from an elite arm strength guy, I'm like, the touch is there. And he's able to make some very high level throws despite, I think, a lack of high end arm talent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so too. I don't think his arm is disqualifyingly bad.
No,
or
not
anything.
disqualifying.
I certainly get it with him. I mean, I'm not like crazy high, but he didn't take a ton of sacks, even if we're talking about him like somebody who maybe has a ridiculous strategy every now and again when it comes to dealing with pressure or a little video gamey. I think that's not the end of the world necessarily. Don't think he's overly mobile or has a huge arm. But I can see him. I could see him moving up boards if he has a good season.
I thought it was good tape. I thought it didn't blow me away enough. I like Sellers a little bit more than him. I think I would take the swing on the upside than maybe the consistency of what I saw from Carr. But I'm intrigued about the placement. I'm intrigued about some of the footwork and his mechanics on the move not being so bad. Notre Dame is one of those teams with a great offensive line that just has mismatches across the board. And I feel like Carr just did not get a lot of muddy pockets to have to navigate. So that's still a big question mark for me. And I thought he was aggressive going deep. Like he loved to throw deep outside the numbers and loved to go to those big out routes to the field, like I said. So you can kind of, in some ways, he's aggressive, but resetting to the backside and making plays all over the field in a tight pocket to me is still a relatively unknown thing for him. And some of the tape that I saw made me think his plan versus pressure is not going to be very good. But I don't know. I think there was some eye manipulation stuff. There was some touch stuff. There was some running stuff that made me think like there's something here. There is something here. But he is a textbook second round pick to me. Like this is the most beautiful second round quarterback that you could design in a lab to be selected somewhere in the like 40s.
I don't even know if I would take him second. Dude, if you again, there is a certain level of your highlights need to be like the first highlight you see is him doubling back and almost getting caught, and then he throws like a 2-yard touchdown, and I'm just like, immediately I was
maybe that
out.
was just the first play of the season.
It was in like the second quarter of the Miami game. I'm like, no, I'm out immediately.
Should have happened in the first quarter. What was going on then? I cannot pick a guy like that.
The thing is these big out routes where he beats the driving corner, they're like 8-yard gains. They won't make a highlight tape.
Exactly. The highlight reels be like, here's a screen he threw that went for a touchdown, and you're like, that's not really him.
Yes, no, I get it, and like I see the out route stuff, I do, but the doubling, like I've seen Shador, like I'm cool. If that goes away this year, great. Otherwise, off my board.
Shador got more potential than people give him credit for.
Maybe so. Now, I hear
there's a lot of
Yes.
There's a lot of quarterbacks at this class. I haven't watched all of them, but I do have some notes on a number of other guys. If you guys have notes on other guys, and if that's what you were getting at, Blaiden.
That is what I was getting at. Yes, yeah. I know that you guys have some notes on like Raiola and Theo. I think you said you had notes on Chambliss.
I think it is Chambliss. It's not a big difference either way, but I really liked Trinidad Chambliss I liked him a little bit more than Sellers just because I thought he had more consistency. What I really liked about Chambliss is I just thought he read body language of defenders downfield super well. Eyes, hips, understanding when to cross off routes and move on to the next one. I thought his feel for both the pocket and the guys downfield were great. He tried to back shoulder things in all the time, maybe a little bit too much where like there was one cover 2 hole shot that I saw where he threw it out of bounds. I'd be like, okay, maybe you're trying to game the sideline a little bit too much there. But his accuracy, I think, is high end, and he wants to kind of sneak that ball away from the defender. He has a zippy arm, and I've seen him like on the run laser it in a tight window between two guys, hit a guy right in the face mask. He's a good runner. He's not afraid to kind of finish a run strong, but more than anything, he's light and fast and can kind of hop and take his legs away once he gets to a sideline. Like, I just thought he was a gamer. I thought
he is. That's what I have down as my biggest note about him. He's kind of like a gamer that does have pretty good tools, and there is some like pretty decent stuff. It's not all just like tools and then he's running like blah blah whatever offense and then running out like totally unseriously. I agree about a lot of the high end stuff he was able to pull off. I get why he's like not considered a quarterback, like, QB2 right now, because week 1 2027, he's small. Just being small and old is tough. He's gonna be 25 first year in the NFL before week 1. So take that for what you will. And yeah, he's probably about 6 foot flat, right? I think he's listed 6'1".
Yeah.
So that's an issue, but certainly there are enough traits there where I'm interested in him.
Yeah, it's really the field vision that I really like. I just think that he has such a good sense of the secondary and the coverage is what I really sensed from him. And that's what kind of, and the aggression, like, I thought he put it all together in ways that the other quarterbacks we've discussed have not put it all together. Like, they may have one good thing here or there, like the athleticism with LaNorris Sellers, or the touch with CJ Carr, or the smoothness and the calm collectedness of Dante Moore. I thought Trinidad Chambliss kind of put all these little things together into a pretty nice little package. And it is a little package, and it is a 25-year-old package. And I don't know why he appealed to NCAA to please let me play my 800th college year. Like,
hey, dude, we're 25.
You're good, bro.
Nothing wrong with being 25. We're 25.
Yeah, I'm about to be 26.
It's gonna feel good. It's gonna feel good.
I've been out of college. I've been out of college a long time.
So if Theo was going to get drafted, it was going to happen years ago. His age is now really crushing his profile. I'm 25. I'm a 5th year pro in this biz. So I'm on that CJ Stroud arc. You really want to go back to college, Trinidad? I've been podcasting for 5 years.
Yep. I've been podcasting longer than you've been alive, bro. But I think after Arch, there's a bit of a break, right? But Sellers and Trinidad Chambliss, I thought, were my two next favorite, and then Carr and Dante Moore kind of in the tier below, where maybe they're get on base picks, but I would kind of take the swing of the juice of those guys.
You're not getting on base if he's doubling back like that, man. I promise you're gonna have the worst quarterback.
I'm hitting a little girl in the stands.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing with like these safe picks is like, oh, just take the safe guy. It's like the safe guy is Tua. All right.
Right.
Tua led the league in passing yards.
Tua did. Tua, maybe he was safe in certain ways. Okay, take the safe guy. The safe guy is Josh Rosen. How about that?
Yes.
Really not safe at all.
Right. And then Raiola.
I don't know much about Raiola outside of the memes that he's a Mahomes lookalike wannabe
clone. Yeah.
I mean, the only thing I have to say is that, like, he takes so many horrifying sacks. His pressure to sack percentage is 36.3, which is the 3rd highest of the decade in college by PFF among guys who have like 250 dropbacks or something like that.
Mahomes wasn't that exact number.
No, I think Mahomes was 34%. I think he was just below. No, Mahomes was a little bit more talented in that regard. He's also got a very weird throwing motion. I don't know if he really has that much pop on his arm at all. But I also haven't watched like enough of him non-broadcast where I want to get really good. Plus, he's like going to be a backup this year. So him being like high on the consensus board, I think really goes to show that it's probably not a representation of what the thinking really is. If we were to all sit down and take it serious, it's just very noisy at this point because we haven't seen as much of the guys and we haven't even seen them in their final form yet. Is there anybody else that you guys watched? There's a couple of guys like Mensa, I know is a big name that I did not get to. So
did I
watched his game against ASU, his bowl game. He's really going to be fun to watch this year, and I think could skyrocket up boards for sure. He he reminds me, he's maybe even better than CJ Carr, where really like his pocket movement. He is somebody who wants to step up. He's somebody who wants to be aggressive, fitting the ball in windows downfield, but he is not a great athlete as he is doing this. I wish the arm was more powerful. I wish the explosion was more powerful, but like it's not the end all be all. It's really not. There are guys in the league who are really elite who don't have the best arm in the league, and there are guys with great explosion who are terrible quarterbacks, right? So Mensa is somebody that I want to watch more of, but his game against ASU, he hit so many posts between the safeties. Like, he just looked very comfortable against all kinds of zone coverages, knowing where to get the ball at that intermediate level. Like, I was pretty impressed with what I saw in that game. But as I was going through it today, I guess I didn't realize he was this highly regarded. I would have watched a little bit more of him and maybe a little bit less Lindsey from Minnesota. I watched Lindsey from Minnesota a little.
Oh, I saw a game. What did you think?
He's the Bobby Wagner of Justin Herbert's.
Ooh, that's a good one.
What does that mean?
It means not including yards lost from sack last year, 2 rushing yards. 2. I mean, and I know you could be like, okay, so he just 2 rushing yards point blank.
That's one QB sneak, bro, and he's 6'5".
It's he's 6'5", 230. He had 2. I mean, it's like the worst number of anybody who's starting this year in the NFL is technically Geno, because I don't have the numbers at 106, but it's Penix at 117 and then Goff at 186. Like, that's the comp. Getting 2 rushing yards is, I mean, he's really, really slow. And I'll say this, it's not even about him like being a threat and scaring the defense, running past the line of scrimmage. I just think it's going to be difficult the way that he moves to like manage the pocket and to, go out and create and play make even behind the line of scrimmage at all. He has a very good arm, though. He has a great arm.
And I think he really is good pre-snap. Like, I watched the Ohio State game. Every single zone coverage rep, his eyes go to the perfect place every time, the weakness in the coverage every time, and he's getting the ball out really early. And so I feel like the arm and the eyes make him like an intriguing pocket passer, and the height, like,
yeah.
But he's just that's why he's the Bobby Wagner of Justin Herbert's, is like, he's so limited. And what Ohio State started doing is they started bringing their boundary corner up, and they would press the boundary, and they'd put depth to the field, and they would make him throw those field outs, and he almost got picked. He didn't want to throw them, but he was finding trouble against man that he wasn't finding versus zone, and eventually tried that big field out, and he almost got pick sixed. I wasn't totally sold on his arm. I thought he's tall and the long levers are nice, but I didn't think it was like a super duper arm. And
I thought it was a really good arm. I'll be real with you. I think he had a pretty good combination of like power and aggressiveness and like touch, but I haven't watched enough of him to really get into an argument with you about it, I guess.
I haven't watched enough to get into an argument with you, but I thought as a tall pocket passer, diagnosing zones and showing some willingness to push it downfield, at least vertically, there's a willingness to test the seams and whatnot. So I thought he's interesting, but I didn't think that his archetype, we have not seen it.
Yeah, I mean, like, this is completely beyond like 2 rushing yards is nuts. I couldn't believe it.
What is it? 16 times less than Sayin, who we already told. Was it the ultimate danger zone? But
yes, exactly.
I'm excited. I mean, he's kind of cool. I mean, as if you like tall pocket passers who read out the game pretty well, like, you're like, yeah, there's some Brady in there, like the Brady of the Minnesota Gophers quarterback room, probably not of NFL history, but it's I think it's aesthetically like, yeah, that's like the quarterback. Like, that's what they look like. 6'5", reading the defense, throwing it early. Like, but if that first read is taken away, I don't think he has any instincts to scramble out on the perimeter. He's got some micro movements in the pocket because he has to, because he's slow. So like, he gets kind of shuffle around and slide around a little bit, but
It's mostly micro movements.
it needs to be elite. It needs to be super mega unbelievably elite at the NFL level. Those little shake and slides to stay in a tight pocket, because 2 rushing yards is literally him falling forward. Literally him falling forward is
I could
more
get
than
2
2
rushing
yards.
yards, you know.
I think
Well,
he probably
not right now. Give me a few more months to get this quad back to strength. But before we get out, I want you guys once again to blind rank everything. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Hit us.
Yep.
I've got a list of 10 items. Number 1, going caving.
Ooh, I
Oh
don't wanna
my
do
God. I don't know. So I'll ask, I mean, we're talking about like this sort of, we're crawling through.
Like a tiny cavern with like cave spiders and shit. Like, yeah.
So I'm assuming, here's the thing. Yeah, going caving in Minecraft depends on what difficulty we're on, of course, but it's really not that bad because it's just a video game.
Yeah.
Whereas going caving, I'll be real with you, I'm very claustrophobic, like incredibly so. I think I would lose my mind and freak out immediately. I'll be real. Like I would, if it was like dangerous enough so where I could get killed, I'd probably get killed, to be honest with you. So for that reason, it makes me think it might be 10. It might be as low as 10 if it's going to kill me and freak me out.
How about 9? Because
But-
it's not guaranteed death. I don't want you to die either. So can we put it at 9?
Okay.
He might have like. Remember
Obviously,
when
Blaiden is trying to game us one way or the other, in which we start with something really. It's either we start with something really bad, and then there's a bunch of even worse stuff like nuke entire Earth, nuke all children.
Or
and
I'd,
you're like,
I'd
okay.
rather go caving once than everything the rest of my life be chocolate. Like that. I'd rather go caving one time than like these lifetime
That's
contracts that tend to come up in these blind.
That's
rankings.
true. That's true.
Well,
It
I'll
really
tell you
depends
this.
on
I'll
how.
tell you this. I asked Sophia.
I don't want to know. This is blind.
Okay.
I don't even want to know.
Mhm.
So you're putting
Give
this
me-
at 9.
I really think if we're assuming like the type of caving that we're all thinking about, where it is legitimately like insanely dangerous,
Yes.
yeah, I'm putting it at 9 because I really think I could die. You guarantee I live, then it goes way up because it is just a one-time experience and you
No
put
guarantee.
insane stuff on
It's
this
like
list.
Yeah.
it's like
Okay, then
I
9,
come to
then
your
9.
house on your birthday and I'm like, bro, I've got a surprise for you, and I blindfold you and I take you out in the desert and we go caving.
It's also probably like the worst conceivable way to die, pretty much. Like it's as
Yes.
bad as it could possibly be.
Yeah, it's not good.
And then like if I die in a caving thing, I'm assuming that it's no one's saying like Blaiden put me up to this and I had to somehow. So it's gonna be like, okay, bro, he's big as hell and wanted to go in the cave. What do we? Twitter's not going to be able to be nice about that for more than like 15
Exactly.
minutes, and then someone's
Yeah.
gonna think of something funny to say or snarky to say, and it's gonna be like, well, man,
I can't believe we
Shouldn't have gone
all
caving, brother.
have to do this. Yeah.
Right.
No one would say anything snarky if they knew Blaiden took you on your birthday.
Well, then they'd be like,
They'd
what the
know
hell,
it was just a
Blaiden?
catastrophic accident.
then they'd be like, they would, but they'd wait like a couple hours.
Exactly. Next up, you get a free Uber or ride share or just a free driver at any point, anywhere, at any time for the rest of your life. But you have to be able to provide the directions orally from memory.
This is like a would
So-
you rather in a blind ranking.
Well, hold up. But I don't have to use the driver for everything, right?
No.
Oh, that's pretty good. That's a good
Yeah.
thing. That's like at worst neutral.
Yeah, that's like designated driver everywhere, like anywhere you want to go.
I'm going to assume that we're not going to consider like whether or not the guy is getting paid or whatever.
Yeah,
And sort
it's
of like because then be like, well, it's actually
Maybe
bad
a
because I don't want
self-driving
to-
car.
Yeah, let's say it's a Waymo, but then it also doesn't contribute to like creating a database of it. Let's put out the morals of that. We're just saying the benefit on a personal scale. And
You got Lightning McQueen.
basically-
You got Lightning McQueen
well, hold on.
car with eyes.
I got
and a mouth.
Lightning. If
moving it up.
Lightning McQueen is driving, that's number
All right,
one.
Yeah,
Well,
quick
you-
qualifying question: can it be Lightning McQueen?
So actually, this was my girlfriend's idea, and one of my qualifying questions was, is this like a driver that you have on retainer? And part of it is that it can be any random driver any given time.
Okay, so it really, you just need to know the way, and it's
Yes.
not going to be like, okay, that makes sense. I would say that this is 4. I would say that this is slightly good.
Really?
It would probably be really convenient for maybe like shortening some certain walks or whatever, or going to like, it'd probably just be good for going out on the town and drinking and then getting a drive home.
It would be great
Yeah.
for the airport. It would be amazing.
Would be
going
elite
to
for the airport. It would have, but it wouldn't be something that you would necessarily use. It definitely wouldn't be something you use every day. You'd probably not use it more days than you would use it.
Yeah.
Although who knows, if you had this
It's
power,
damn
maybe it
near
would
worth
be-
it. I mean, we're probably talking from like thousands of dollars in savings just on airport
that's
trips
true.
over the course of your life, because
Yeah.
an Uber
true.
here and back from the airport from where I'm at, that's like $100, right?
Okay.
I could take
Now,
the train
I want to even.
but then I have to drive to the train and find parking, right?
I
So,
want
like,
you to even think about the extrapolation of this, where I think you would just get really good at knowing directions. If
Yes,
you
you would.
could memorize certain directions, you could have someone drive you to fucking California.
you could sell your car, you could not have to pay for parking.
Oh, you could sell the car.
That would
and
be
just-
insane.
That would save you so much money. That would be so sweet.
I think it's
Yeah.
I think it's pretty good. And you could just have a map. You could have a map in your back seat, and you could
You
just,
can't. No.
You
Can I have a physical map? Can I have a physical map?
No, it has to be from
Has to be
memory.
from memory.
You can
That's
study
why
a
I'm
map.
keeping it at
You can
3.
study a map, but you have to be able to relay it orally from memory.
From
What-
memory.
what
So I
you
can't
would-
even take notes on a Post-it and write it down.
Correct.
I think it's at 3. I think you would be able to, at the minimum, really limit the amount of miles you put on your car and save yourself a lot that way. It would
Yeah.
be incredibly convenient for the sake of like going to the airport or going out, and you wouldn't have to like park for any game ever.
Yep.
Yeah, it would be pretty good for a number of things if you were really locked in, but I do think the not knowing the directions would be fairly limiting, even if you
It
put some
would.
serious work in. You would still definitely want to have a car for any road trip, because then you're going to be in a completely new place and you don't want to spend all your time studying a map. So I'd say 3 is fair for this if we were going to.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would maybe put it at 2, or I could even see 1 just because there's not that much downside.
There's going to be
The
like
only-
world peace on here.
The only downside I can think of is
World
if
Peace is
you
on the last one, it can't.
if
be on
you
this
get
extreme.
lost and have to work your way out of it, you kind of can't, because you have to talk to the sky
Right.
orally. Like, but even then, you could probably just get out of the car, and then the rules wouldn't apply to you anymore. So it's really not that much downside. So I would probably put it at 2, but we could go 3.
Cool.
Next one is you get transported 100 years into the future and as your current self.
Ooh.
That, bro. I'd rather
I
go
don't want
caving
to
than
be-
that. I have
100
no
years.
desire to do this.
But it wouldn't. Oh, ooh, would you rather go caving or
You don't want to
Dude,
know
here's
what the
the-
climate's going to be like 100 years from now. Like,
the climate's probably not going to be very good.
it's not going to be good.
Okay.
Not gonna be good.
My summer take is going to be pretty rough. in 21, 26.
Yes.
I've been thinking about this because it's been hot and there's been wildfires in Denver. A couple years ago, I said, winter. If you like winter more, it's like saying Will Anderson is above like Aiden Hutchinson after his rookie year. That was a take that I gave when we ranked edge rushers. And
Yeah.
Matt, your complaint was like, that's going to be true, but it's not true right now.
Yes, that's cheating. That's not fair. So you get lucky that the way the climate is changing is it's getting warmer and making summer that does not count. That is fraudulent. It is not the same thing.
We're kind of in that reality this summer, though. Low key may have
We're
had
not
that
counting
tipping.
it.
We got 2 years. We got 2-3 years left. You think 100 years? I'm putting this. I would put this so far below caving, but I don't know if we want this in the 10th spot because there could still.
It could be cool though. Maybe so. I mean, okay, everybody I know would not be around. That would be tough.
That would be tough.
Do I
Well,
like? Am I just like?
There's probably a
What
mass
do I get
extinction
any
event,
money? I don't
You
know.
get
I wouldn't.
money? What?
Like, well, what situation am I just homeless 100 years from now?
It's you are your current self. You are in your current situation, but you are now 100 years in the future.
This wouldn't be good. That would be 100 years in the future, and I would.
I'm
I would
talking
try to
about.
tell-
I'm
Hey,
talking
I
about
have
podcasting,
nothing.
and they're like, "What?"
They're like,
NFL.
it's not 20. It's not 2030, buddy. I'm like, I know. And that's what's tough about the whole thing. I don't. This would be pretty bad.
The only thing is, I would be the expert on old NFL. Like,
That'd be true.
my debate on like Fran Tarkington or whatever. Like, I could debate Mahomes narratives with so much juice. It would be crazy.
This is like the opposite of like going back in time. Like people are like, oh yeah, you go back in time, you bet on old Super Bowls and stuff. Theo's like, yeah, I go into the future, and I'm just like, yeah, dude. Johnny Unitas was the greatest quarterback of all.
I'm describing Mahomes in detail as a 25-year-old, and people are like, how have you watched so much of it? But I'm putting it at 10 because I think it's worse than Caving, and I feel like it should be ranked worse than Caving.
I'll put it out. All right, we can put it at 10, but I don't think that this is that bad. I think it's more like 9. I think we should leave ourselves a little room. Because
I think I might kill myself immediately if I woke up in.
No, you're gonna look at the ships. You're gonna look at the ships at least.
There's no ships.
You're not gonna look around. There's ships.
I hope to God there's not ships. If the first thing I see isn't a wind turbine or a solar panel, I'm not sticking around.
When you get teleported, you leave sort of like a little like dust spot or something like that, and then we know we got to start working on the ships for Theo.
The first thing, if I disappear, you need to build a blimp immediately and send it to Amazon and say everything you do needs to be with this. We need our friend to see something cool when he's there.
See something cool. Well, first of all. If one of us got transport, the rest of us are living to 125, I think.
Yeah, Theo, if you get transport, cryo freeze me immediately, brother. I'm on my way. Don't worry.
I'm holding out hope.
Yes.
It was awesome in Futurama. Like, all kinds of great things happened to him. He got to see all of his old friends and his old girlfriend.
And this actually, if you did get transported 100 years in the future, we could at least get like an apartment for you somewhere. We'd be like, we got to reserve it for this guy when he's walking around acting crazy. So you'd be cool. Yeah. Put this at 1.
Put this at 1.
Can we put it at 9?
We already have Caving at 9. We can put it at 8.
I thought Caving was. No, we can
put it at 8.
Put it at 8. It's not instant for sure. There's going to be something on here that's instant death, and Caving is going to kill me. It also would kill you, Theo.
Why do you assume that something on here is going to be instant death?
Caving doesn't have to be instant death, but it certainly is not worth.
We've never gone caving, and we're going to a serious cave. It's definitely going to kill us. I think that's totally valid.
I agree that it's not worth the risk and it's dangerous and it could kill us in the worst possible way, but caving does not have to equal instant death.
It doesn't have to. I'm saying that if we went into like a truly difficult cave, like I think is a good faith reading of that question, I do think don't think I would.
The risk is way too high that we can't get out. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That we get stuck. Yeah.
Next is pizza.
Pizza's pretty good.
Yeah, I like pizza. 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Save it. Keep it number 1 open. I like it. Okay. I thought of this question because I was at the Muse concert. You go to see your favorite band or one of your favorite bands, your favorite artist, whatever, and the lead singer gets sick. So they come up to you and they're like, dude, would you please fill in? We know you know all the songs. And in the heat of the moment, you're like, absolutely yes. So you're locked into doing it. So now you're locked into doing this. You have to perform for like in place of your favorite. Like you don't really know the set list they're doing. You're going to have like the in-ear monitors and everything. You're going to have a click in your head. And like,
man, I would not be.
You're in, and it's sold out like Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, let me be the Pink Floyd frontman in their prime to like 70,000 people. It's not going well. I have got some singing chops, I think. Like I have some singing chops. I wouldn't embarrass myself in a very casual setting, but that's like King of the Road by Roger Miller, and that's it. I got that song.
Yeah.
And this is very different. I'm not good with lyrics. I'm not good with like stage presence and like acting.
I think I'd be pretty bad with stage.
It would be bad. It would not be the show folks paid for. I would be deeply uncomfortable, and I'm not a good enough singer to
I'll say, like, as someone, like, I do play shows often, I would not want to. This is like very low for me.
Yeah.
They'd figure out it's not Tom York pretty quick.
they would absolutely figure it. Like,
maybe Daft Punk, I get the helmet and just play the instrumental.
Oh, yes, if it's Daft Punk, it's kind of cheating because Daft Punk really isn't my one, but they're like within that range where I was like, at least when you bomb, nobody will know that it's you and you can kind of live your life from there on out. That would be, but that's cheating. That's not really what it is.
I'll put this at like, I would put this at like 6. Like you have to perform a big rock concert on a whim. I think it's 6 because at the end of the day, it's just one night of your life, and stuff like 100 years in the future is the rest of your life with your entire family dead and perhaps the average temperature of the Earth being past the point of no return. So I'm putting this at 6 to give us.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think 6 is bad placement here, given where everything else is right now. Like, there would be a level of euphoria and excitement, but then you have to, Matt.
There really wouldn't. I would understand the situation immediately.
Unless King of the Road came on, then there wouldn't. I would be like, yes, my karaoke go-to. But Roger Miller is not who. I don't even know. Again, I don't know any of his other songs.
Close your eyes and imagine Matthew Sponhour singing motion picture soundtrack.
Right. This would be a really, really.
I don't see euphoria at all. I don't see.
I mean, it would be like one song, and I'd be like, there are 23 more songs, man. This sucks. Like I would.
Yeah. It's like 2 hours. You know, like.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it would be really bad. I agree. Like it's not legitimately harmful, but it'd be pretty bad. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would hate that so much.
They would boo you off the stage.
Yeah, they would.
They would.
I would be fine. I'd be like, can we just boo me off? Let's do it.
Put me out of my misery. Fair enough. Next up here, Gold.
Gold.
AU 79 on the periodic table.
Gold is a net negative for society, I'd say, but it's, I don't know.
It's valuable.
Yeah, but this could be this could be a single gold coin, or it could be.
There's nothing wrong with gold. They dig. I'm going eco mode, as you guys can clearly see. I don't know. Gold doesn't move me. It's not worth what we do for it.
But it is worth a lot of money, right?
Yeah,
it is.
Now we do live in the money society right now.
We do
right now.
So gold's pretty good.
Yeah, we could put gold somewhat high. I wouldn't put it at 1. I would not put it at 1.
I wish we had 3 or 2 available, quite frankly, because I agree. I don't think it's going to be the best thing we get, but gold pretty good. Is
gold better than pizza?
Yeah.
Like, it's better to have. I feel like pizza's more of a staple in my life personally, but I guess if I could.
Utility to Theo Ash, of course. Yes.
I don't know. Gold is, I mean, yeah, if I had a bunch.
I think gold has sneaky utility, and also it's worth crazy amounts. So if we get a ton of it.
All right, gold. How about 4?
4?
Yeah, we can do 4, because if there's superpower or something like that, I'd definitely take that over gold. Plus, it's more of the concept of gold, which we can poke some holes in rather than a certain amount of gold. Whereas with like pizza, you can't really poke many holes in the concept of that.
You really can't. This one's tough. No one will ever laugh at any of your jokes.
This would be worse than the rock concert, that's for sure.
Like imagine Matt, you tell a joke and I just.
If you started doing that to me, this podcast would last like 3 more episodes if you started blanking me.
Dude, you know I couldn't do that like if I tried.
I mean, we've left 10 open, And
Yeah.
we've got 7, if I'm not mistaken,
I
correct?
do have 7.
Yes.
We're kind of getting down to it.
Yeah,
We are.
It's kind of like the rock concert where it doesn't.
It's worse than the rock concert because it's for your whole life.
Absolutely
It is for
worth
your whole life,
Yes.
and that's why you.
And it really would ruin like all conversations for you on some level, in a way.
I mean, you could just not. You could change up. Like, Matt, you're a funny guy. Could you become a smart guy?
Nobody could I. Yeah,
Could you
I
be
could become I could become a smart guy. Yeah, I could.
Could you be the guy that's always like making great points?
I could just do facts. Okay, yeah.
Could you replace laughter with like,
No.
oh, that's I never thought about it that way.
Replacing laugh
But
with it.
he's not funny, but he says some real clever shit. He makes me think. There's nobody like that. That's not a real type of dude. This would be miserable. This would be miserable for everybody. Even people who aren't like, I'm trying to tell jokes all the time or whatever. This would be miserable.
Yeah.
Yes.
Smart remarks to try to get a laugh are too much a part of my personality. I could see putting this at TED. It's too much of my social strategy.
It would. I really do think it might be. How many do we have left? We have 4 left.
We have
overall.
1, 5, 7, and 10.
Yes.
So there's 3 more, and one of them's got to be worse than this. It's a blind rank. It ain't going to be perfect.
Yeah.
I kind of think that there might not be anything worse than this left, but I know the last one's either going to be really good or really bad.
Let's put it at 10. Let's put it at 10 because
Let's put it at 10 and
this is a horrifying.
yeah, let's put it at 10.
Okay.
You know, the thing is with blind ranks is like the point is that it's supposed to be tough, but there isn't necessarily somebody trying to get you with some like secret strategy necessarily.
I'm not trying.
Next time you do this, you have to shuffle them randomly and tell them to us at a random to give us more of a chance.
Okay, so I have to like write them on cards and just like pick one out. Okay.
I think so.
I'm down with that. I'm down with that. It's blind for both of us in some level. This next one, so Theo, you've already mentioned this. Last time I had you guys decide where to place everything you eat is chocolate covered.
Yeah.
And you guys said that was like the worst thing imaginable. It would kill
Yes.
you.
It's so bad.
Yes, it would.
It would
make you insanely sick at the very
Okay.
minimum, and it would kill you
So-
eventually.
This one is an alteration of that. There is a 50-50 chance that everything you eat is conceptually a Tootsie Pop, meaning it has chocolate in the center of it.
Oh,
How much?
Let's say
Wait.
proportional to a Tootsie Pop.
Okay.
so like
So
if you
maybe,
ate an
like-
apple, it would be a pretty like there'd be a pretty
Decent
big
Thing of chocolate.
chocolate,
Yeah.
Or Tootsie or whatever.
whatever.
Yeah.
that is.
Okay, so like what are the rules on, let's say I start eating an apple, turns out there's chocolate, not really going for that. Can I just pick up another apple and kind of keep going until I get a regular apple?
I guess, yeah.
I think
sure.
so. Yeah.
Okay, so then this is bad, but not like a disaster. Like it doesn't kill you like the chocolate covered thing would, in like a pretty kind of horrifying way if you really think about it, right? This would mostly be like really, really
Double your
annoying.
food cost. Yeah.
Yeah, you just got to buy twice as much food, and then you would also have some day you'd be trying to go out on a first date or whatever, and then you would go like 0 for 3 on trying to order a steak that doesn't have Tootsie in it, and you would blow it.
Hey, can I send this steak back? It has chocolate in it.
I'm ordering like a plate of something, like a plate of sliders, a plate of tacos.
Oh,
It
that's
said
a good point.
It's 3, and then I'm like, one of these better. That's what I'd have to do.
Yeah.
It would.
You could
I mean,
send it
it's
back.
psychologically torture, though. Like, you're making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. You like break open the bread, you cut it in half. You're like, okay, there's no Tootsie Pop in here. Then you bite it, and there it is.
You can send it back. That does give you a little bit more flexibility at the restaurants. Hey, 4 of my 6 sliders were Tootsie. So
I think this is a clear 7, though.
I think I could. Do you think we're going to get 2 things better than this, or do you think we're going to get 1 thing better and 1 thing worse? Don't look at it at 1, 5, 7. Look at it 1, 2, 3 from here on out.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, good idea.
I think that this is bad, but very, very much workable. Actually, it's not as bad as chocolate covered. It's not as bad as.
That's what
I don't think it's as
not
bad as
chocolate covered.
And you can eat around the Tootsie.
You can eat around the Tootsie.
You can eat around the Tootsie, but it's gonna affect the taste.
A little bit, sure.
Yeah.
Sure, right.
You'll be a little bit more prone to order things that maybe can work with some Tootsie, or maybe sometimes you'll be like, I'm in a Tootsie mood, but probably not very frequently.
I have never in my life been in a Tootsie mood, by the way.
No,
I feel like 100% of your life you've been in a Tootsie mood.
you're kind of
I kind of don't buy that for a second. What's the next one?
So wait, where are you putting this?
Let's put it at 5. Yeah.
All right, you're putting it at 5. Okay. Bottled water, like from the store. You're thirsty, you go to a gas station, you buy a bottle of water.
No dilemma. It's just a bottle of water.
Just a bottle of water.
All right, then this one's pretty. I mean, it's fine. This probably could have been.
I feel
5.
like Blaiden sneaks in like elite things on the last one. Is how it's gone. That's my scouting report on you.
The last time is what it was, and my thinking is it's probably going to be different this time.
I don't know. My scouting report on Blaiden is that the last one here is sometimes elite, but we can put this at 1 because it's just water.
You know,
water.
Theo, I'm honestly surprised that you would want to put this at 1 because of your environment.
Plastic.
Yeah, because it's plastic.
Well, it would never be 1 if they were all open.
Right.
But yeah, it's definitely like if you're buying.
It would be more like 6 or 5 or something like that.
Yeah. In a
straight up,
world,
and 7's closer to that, but we're playing by different rules. You know, it's a blind rank.
It would probably be like 4 based on what we've got.
The last one could be anything.
I think I don't mind putting it at 1 just because it's safe.
Yeah, I agree.
But if my scouting report is right up with that.
Sometimes the safe pick isn't the safe pick. Sometimes you pick Josh Rosen, and Theo, you just picked Josh Rosen. The last one here is Mom.
Mom would probably be 1 otherwise, but to be fair, it's impossible to know what you're going to do with this, and it's not like some great trick.
No, it's a great trick. It's a great trick.
It's really not.
I fooled you.
No, it's not.
You didn't fool me. You didn't fool me for 1 second.
And yet you still pick Josh Rosen.
Well, who says
bottled water isn't?
Who says that bottled water and Mom are that far apart? I do. I would put Mom at 1.
I would put Mom
if it wasn't for our ranking. But yeah, I guess she's got to be at 7, huh?
Yeah, she has to go at 7 here. So that's your blind ranking. And that does it for another episode of Stay Hot. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's been an absolute blast. And as always, from your favorite fellas here talking ball, we'll catch you on the flippity flop.